Hello everyone, I'm Stacy and this is the For Bricks and Giggles YouTube channel. I just got back from Brickfair, Virginia. It was an amazing time and I was able to display my first ever MOC publicly. I had wanted to wait until the event was over before showing the rest of the internet what the final design ended up being for this MOC. Here at the beginning of the video, I am including a couple of clips going through what my original ideas were for this piece, because a year ago or more I had done a couple of small updates on this process before deciding that I wanted to keep it more of a surprise. So if you want to skip the recap, I would skip into the video about 5 or 6 minutes. So whether you stay for the recap or skip into the final design, let's get started. So my plan is to do something castle related. This is what I had initially started several months ago. I have a ton of these base plates from buying Belleville bulk lots over the years, and I don't like shipping them, so I still have a ton of them, and I decided I wanted to use this as the base for it. Initially, I had started building here in the back, kind of being inspired by the King's Castle a little bit, but I'm going to get rid of this because I have new inspiration. Actually, go ahead and rip this off now. So technically this is kind of the base I'll be starting with. This was a piece I was really excited to find. Part of what I'm thinking of doing for this MOC is something similar to the Guarded Inn, which comes with a red one of these, but I like having this in yellow. Obviously it'll look different that way, and I'm only going to use the Guarded Inn as like an inspiration point, a jumping off point, not an exact replica or anything like that. So my idea is to do something kind of Guarded Inn related on that front section. So right in here, I'd like to go with a color scheme that's very old school Lego. So like blue, yellow, red, black, and gray. Kind of those original primary colors that used to be really iconic of Lego before they made things look super realistic. So also keep that in mind. I got these from Pick-a-Brick, and I bought these when I was originally going with the kind of castle-esque build here in the back, but again, I'm thinking there might be something I can use these for. I found a really cool piece that I had never seen before. I found a windmill piece from a Fabuland set that I just thought was amazing, and I'll try to superimpose a picture here so you all can see it. So I was thinking maybe of doing some sort of tower build and then having the windmill on top of it here in the back, so like the Guarded Inn kind of build, and then a windmill build here in the back. And then in the front, I got another Fabuland piece. Love it. It's a water wheel. So there is this place here in the front. Technically, it's got this little pond sticker in it, but I thought I might fill it with like 1x1 round translucent plates in varying shades of blue and do a little water wheel build here. I don't have an exact idea at this point. So I think a little windmill, water wheel, Guarded Inn, that's my vibe for this at this point. I do have a few other little pieces I'm trying to figure out if I can incorporate. I bought these little fence pieces from Pick-a-Brick. They fit really nicely there in the front. This was another piece I just thought was really pretty. Red archway, vintage, a little bit more on the rare side. Maybe some way of incorporating it with the Guarded Inn side. Maybe something with the windmill. I don't know. I just think it's a really pretty piece. So that is my basic idea for this MOC so far. Alright, so I think it's been about a month since I first pitched my ideas, maybe a little bit longer. So I have done some building in that time, built this and ripped it out several times, but I'm happy with this as a rough draft at least. So I've only done this end so far. This was the section I wanted to do that kind of referenced the Guarded Inn, and I mean I did use fairly strong guides from the Guarded Inn to build this. I think it's a little more complicated than the Guarded Inn was originally, but I'm really happy with it. I did change the shutter colors a couple of times. I have changed these sections out a few times. I really like this section here at the top. These are actually Fabuland windows, so kind of a little bit of a different use for those. It does give me a little bit of, if I turn it this way, of like the McDonald's golden arches, which I'm not upset about. This may end up being the medieval McDonald's. I don't know. I just thought that it kind of looked like that, and again, again, not mad about it. I like that. And I'm gonna see about maybe trying to replicate this somewhere else within the build to kind of make that cohesive. But you can stick a minifigure right behind these Fabuland windows and it makes a great kind of lookout point at the top there. I just found this flag in a bulk lot of flags and I just liked that the colors matched. So I haven't decided for sure if this is where it'll stay, if it will stay, but I just liked it because it tied in with the colors. So this is the color scheme I kind of want to stick with. Someone had recommended like I can't remember if it was like a stable or a chicken coop or a pig pen or something. It was some sort of animal enclosure and I have thought about that and I do think I'm gonna do that on this little section here in the front. I did get these little Fabuland roof pieces, which are oddly enough kind of difficult to get in the US. So my plan is to do a little pig pen right here and use those. I can't decide what direction I want them to face yet, but they actually match these like Mario roof pieces pretty well. So I'm really happy with that. So I think I'm gonna do a little pig pen right here in the front. I actually want to do a small little castle build here in the back, 2 towers on either side, and then the windmill kind of in the center. We'll see. That's just where my mind is going right now. So that's kind of the vibe, obviously taller, but that's kind of the vibe I'm thinking about right now. Kind of 2 towers and a windmill in between, probably behind it just slightly. This is all I've gotten accomplished since I talked about it last, which I know isn't a lot. It probably appears pretty simplistic, but that is how I enjoy Lego. I really prefer old school Lego that had much more simple builds. I tried to incorporate some of the pattern from this panel piece into the yellow parts above and kind of on this side as well. I might do some more yellow here too. I think it's a fairly good start considering I haven't done a MOC in 15 years. I've had a lot of fun building this so far and I'm super excited to continue working on this MOC. Alright, so here we have the final build. I have no idea how many pieces this is, but since the pond alone has over 1,000 1x1 round plates in it, I would say this is probably between 1,500 and 2,000 pieces. And I created 6 minifigures for this MOC. And it definitely drastically changed since the last time I updated you all on my ideas for this MOC. The real turning point for this was when I was making Christmas ornaments a few months ago. I decided I wanted to make some flower Christmas ornaments for Belleville, and when I was looking for these giant fan pieces in dark pink, I saw all of the other colors it was available in, and just kind of a spark went off that inspired this. So I set out on a quest to get as many of those as I could. So I ended up with 2 yellow ones and 3 red ones. I think I had to order those from a different country, but I can't remember which one right off. But waiting on order after order was honestly so fun. Every time I felt like I was done with this process, I would think of a new thing I wanted to add to it. So while this is what the final looked like for Brickfair, Virginia, who knows, I may continue to add to this in the future. I only have 3 of the minifigures on this MOC right now, just so it doesn't block the view of anything, but I'll go ahead now and show you all of the minifigures. So I did create 6 minifigures for this MOC, and I'll go through them super quickly because they're all basically the same thing, just slightly different colors. So since I was going with classic colors, I tried to stick as closely to original colors as possible. The only thing I couldn't get that was an original color was the torso, which is bright green, but there is bright green in the base plate, so I still think it works. I really desperately tried to find something along this lines in regular green, and I just couldn't find it. So each minifigure is just slightly different. I swapped out the color of the hands and the legs for each of them, so no 2 are the same. And I gave them little buckets to hold that each have a 1x1 translucent dark blue plate in them from the pond so that they can run around watering the flowers. So I really liked this little hat design that I found. The torsos originally came with bright green arms as well, and I think lime green hands, but I switched all of the arms and hands out. And then, like I said, I switched all of the legs out too. So just really quickly, just thought it would be fun if they were each just slightly different. Originally, I had planned to make the hands and legs match on each of them, and there would be 2 of each. And then at the last minute, I changed my mind. So 6 unique minifigures, and I was definitely happy with how they turned out. Alright, as for the rest of the build, you can see I did greatly update what was originally inspired by the Guarded Inn. I was just not really super thrilled with how it looked by the end of the first revision, so I actually tore that out and pretty much started all the way over and reworked it a couple of times before I ended up with this. I think in a small way it may still resemble the Guarded Inn a little bit, but really only by the panel and not much else. I wanted it to be more original than the Guarded Inn, so I tried to change it as much as possible. I also moved the flag from that side to behind the windmill as well. I think when I originally started that, the flag was on the little cottage build. I also had these little Fabuland windows flipped the opposite direction, which is what kind of made it have the appearance of a McDonald's, and I think once I flipped them the reverse way, it kind of removed that to an extent. Also having the flower there in front kind of distracted from that golden arches look as well. I did name this the Fabuville Flower Fortress since it uses a lot of Fabuland pieces and Belleville pieces. I thought it would be fun to kind of play on both of those names. It does also use quite a few different scala, I'm never sure how you're supposed to say it, flowers and animals. I wanted you all to see the whole thing together, but I'm going to take the camera off the stand and give you some close-ups so that you can see some of the details a little bit better, because I just don't think from this distance you can get the full effect. But I did want you to see this as a whole piece first before I showed you a lot of the close-ups. So here in the front we have one of the large flowers. I guess according to Lego it's more of a fan piece. I did want to point out the centers for all of those are some of the scala flowers. Just happen to have the correct number of those I needed to put one in the center of each of those flowers. This is another one of those scala pieces, as well as that one there. So I really like those. They're a little bit different, a little bit larger than some of the other flowers found in different themes, and they just kind of stand out and pop in contrast to the regular old school Lego flower. I also have included some animals like the little birds, and then we'll get to the bunnies there in the back in a second. Here we have a cypress tree. That was probably the only piece I was really worried about anyone stealing, but it was not an issue. People were great at the event. I never had to, say anything to anyone about touching or anything like that, so super positive experience at the event. I'm gonna move the tree now. This fishing pole was actually a very last minute decision. That was the last thing that came in before the event, probably a week before the event. And I just felt like there needed to be something else mixed in the pond. It just felt a little bit too empty, but I didn't want to stick just like regular fish back in there. So I was really happy with the way that came out. I think, like I said before, there are at least 1,000 of those little 1x1 plates in there. And that's even after I filled that area up with some just plain blue bricks underneath to try and save space. That thing was much deeper than I anticipated. Did also include some of these like little ladybug looking pieces. Those are from friends. It's really just a discovery process along the way, finding pieces I didn't know existed. Built the waterway out here to the water wheel. I wasn't really sure what to do. This was kind of a last minute decision, and I'm actually so happy with how this turned out. Very simple build. This is a Scala bucket. Originally I had a tiny blue Belleville bucket there, and I thought what I was doing was ordering the Belleville bucket in yellow, and when it got here it was a Scala bucket. I just had misread the listing. Totally fine. And it actually worked out so much better because after switching this out, I realized that the Belleville bucket was just too small to look like a endless water fountain the way I wanted it to. And I just had a lot of fun draping these strings with floral elements all over the build. I already had the windmill the last time I did an update. Again, very happy with the way that turned out. Someone was talking about this flag. The clips on it are not super tight, so that's why I have it built up the way I do, because it would just slide down the pole otherwise, but I still think it turned out looking okay that way. I have another flower here in the front. This is a Scala ladybug. Those came on sprues, so like this piece and all of these little flower pieces. I can't remember the exact breakdown. There were a couple of different types of sprues, but they would come with either flowers or like the butterfly or the little ladybug or beetle, whichever you want to call it. Use some more of those up here as well. The bunnies were a last minute decision. Those actually are a pretty recent release. I think they come from a Harry Potter set that either came out in 2023 or 2024. Obviously, they could definitely jump the fence, but I still thought it was cute to add a little gate in there. These are Fabuland roof pieces. I think I had yellow ones originally, yellow bases with a red roof, and then I decided it was too much yellow in that one area, so I switched them out with blue ones. And those are Belleville bows. They actually fit perfectly for the little bunnies. So someone was asking me, I think recently, if like the Belleville crowns would fit like in mini doll hair, and I'm pretty sure all the pinholes are the same size because these fit and come out with no problem. So I'm sure you could put a little crown in one of them. Maybe I'll add a little Belleville crown to have the king or queen bunny there. These were a little bit on the pricier side, but I really wanted to try and avoid as many printed pieces as possible. So to get plain yellow bunnies, I paid a little bit more, but I'm really glad I did because I love the way this turned out. While we have that removed, I'll show you behind. Just tried to add in as many floral elements as possible along the walkways and in the back. These barrels were kind of a random discovery. I wasn't particularly looking for them, but I thought they added a lot to it instead of just having the shrubs kind of sitting out there, getting that extra pop of red. I was really happy with. I don't remember what these butterfly pieces go to, but those were also a very last minute find. I found those probably 2 weeks before the event or less. So originally the towers were much shorter because I didn't have those butterflies in there, but I think I paid 22 cents a piece for the butterflies, and it ended up being so perfect for this. So I'm glad I accidentally found those. Love these Fabuland window pieces. Honestly, they look so fancy once I kind of enclose them with the arches. Some pieces I bought without having any plan for and then came up with stuff along the way. Honestly, just doing this whole MOC has been such an amazing experience. I never thought I would enjoy building Lego without instructions, and this really just drastically changed my opinion on that. Then at the top we have these great rounded bar pieces in blue. Those were actually kind of difficult to find. I think there was only 1 or 2 sellers in the US that had 4 of those available at once. I probably got those around the same time as the butterflies, really kind of a last minute decision there. And again, they just helped boost the height of the towers, which I was really happy with. These roof pieces are from the Mario series, but they match the Fabuland roof pieces really well, so that worked out. Again, just loved putting kind of these flower pieces on clips in as many different places as possible. And then of course, every tower needs a flag at the top. The cottage was probably the first thing I really completed because it's what I had the most pieces for originally, but I did redo it several times. I was really happy with this little light gray bench that I included in the front, just using hinge pieces and tiles and a couple plates. Super simple build, but there was too much open space there and I didn't want to block the panel, so I needed something small that would still take up some space in that area, and I think it did a pretty good job. So I was definitely so motivated once I completed that section to try and come up with stuff for the rest of the build. I will show you the back of the MOC as well. It's not super exciting, but I did want it to be complete from a 360 angle because when you're displaying, unless you're up against a wall, they can see the back of your MOC. So added some bugs and greenery to the side there. This little section was made for a piece, so I tried to add some flowers there. Again, added some vines and stuff on the side and some vines to the back. Not super exciting, but still, so it had that 360 feel of being a complete MOC. There were 2 little spots there that you could put flowers, so I included some there and built this area out to look like a mound of grass. Again, I am so happy with the way this turned out. I already have ideas for my next MOC for next year. Brickfair was an amazing thing to go through. I'm so glad I went to the entire event this year for all 5 days. I met so many great people at this event. So many people came up and approached me and said they followed my content or knew me from social media or that kind of thing, and that was super fun. I loved getting to talk to so many of you. By the end of the week, I felt like my voice was starting to go. I was well as my ability to form thoughts and communicate and have a meaningful conversation. So if I seemed out of it, I was so exhausted by the end of it, but it truly was an amazing experience. And if you get to go to any brick event, I highly recommend them. Oh, before I forget, I do want to show the little tokens people left for my MOC. I did not know about this, but sometimes people will leave little tributes and tokens at your MOC if they like it. Only some of them had names on them, so I don't know who all of them are from, or even what some of them mean. So I'll show you those really quick. I think there were around 10 of them left at my MOC. This one was not left at my MOC, they just handed it to me. This was from Brick at Night, which is on ELPN, which is the network I occasionally do a podcast with a couple of friends on. This is an additional podcast, which definitely check it out if you're interested in more Lego content. Super cool to meet them at this event. The person who gave me this said it was the seal of approval. So he was handing out seals of approval to all of the MOCs that he enjoyed, which I thought was super cute and fun, and I'm gonna have to do something like this next year at the event. I don't know what this is or who it's from, but very cool. Same for this one, really cute, little heart. I don't know if this was like custom printed or it's a crystal, but the colors are so crazy for it, so I don't know if it's spray painted. I'm not exactly sure, but very pretty. A little frog on a mushroom, super cute. We had this fabulous looking trophy. Another really cute little trophy. The trophies are a good idea. I think I might do trophies next year. This one actually had a name on it. It says Fabulous. Bricks by Steve. I appreciated that one because of the Fabuland references within my MOC. And then I think this was the most complicated one. It has a spider on top. When you twist it, it spins. And I think this one had a name on it too. Interactive Bricks. Name fits the little build. So those were all super fun and super cute. Obviously, I wasn't nominated for like a real award at the event. I was not anticipating that at all. But these were just as fun to receive from fellow AFOLs and builders. And I will be keeping all of these together as a really fun token and memento of my first ever full Brickfair Virginia. So I definitely look forward to doing this again next year. For watching. If you enjoyed this video, like and subscribe. And if you're interested in extra videos and content, check out the membership program starting at only 99 cents a month. There are already over 55 episodes available. See you all next time.